Hey babies, it's Astro Bree, and I am doing a video on the full moon. Are you ready? Let's go. All right, so let's do it tropical first, and then we'll go into the nakshatras and what's underneath of the tropical zodiacs. The tropical zodiac, if you're not aware, is related to the ecliptical and how the sun and the moon relate to the earth. Are you ready? Here we go. So it's Pisces rising for Eastern Standard Time. This chart is about endings, closings. We are looking at debts. We're looking at where in the past we had let ourselves be overlooked. We're looking at where people had cut us short. Jupiter retrograde is moving from the second house into the first house, right on the borderline. It's at 1 degree 59 minutes of Aries. It is in the sign of the moon, but just barely. The moon is at 16 degrees, conjunct Chiron at 14 degrees. Chiron being the wounded healer. This is going to bring up some very big abandonment wounds for a lot of people. As the sun opposes the moon and Chiron, the sun is with Venus, really close to the star Speca, which is known as the golden grain. It is the most beautiful, bright star in the constellation of Virgo. Yes, I said Virgo because Virgo is the constellation that is underneath the zodiac sign of tropical Libra. And at this point is exactly where my moon is. So I'm quite familiar with this part of the sky. We will go into the nakshatras in a minute, but I do want to specify that Venus very much rules this part where the sun is and Venus is. So the sun and Venus are very much in power here, where the moon is not very comfortable in Aries. It is a very hot spot for the moon. Being that it's also with Chiron, it's not comfortable either. The opposition between a sun and a moon is what creates a full moon energy. But when we have other planets like Venus and Chiron at play here, we are having a dual opposition. We are having a moon that is emotionally wounded. We are having a moon who is trying to see a higher healing power, but sitting in a place where it can't be seen, second house, because this is a Pisces rising on Eastern Standard Time, okay? So, the sun and Venus are actually sitting in the 8th house. This is a time of reckoning debts, figuring out where you owe and where you have been owed. These illuminated energies will be something unavoidable. And being that Venus is with the sun, there will be a lot of contractual arguments and contractual agreements being bestowed and brought up during this energy. There is a frequency of Mars that is just really super heightened power here. Mars is sitting in the 4th house on the right side of the IC, meaning the outward side of the IC. It's not an internal thing. So let's go here. The ascendant is where the horizon line meets and the descendant line meets. Okay, that's your AC/DC. This is where the sun was peaking in the eastern horizon sign. This is where it was setting in the eastern horizon sign based on where you were born. Okay, and for this chart, it's Pisces and Virgo. Okay, now very interesting that we've got this Pisces Virgo axis, because as I will say when we go into the nakshatras, this element of the sun and moon is actually in sidereal Pisces Virgo. So it's an echo of that energy of really letting us know that we are here at this full moon stage to close up a chapter, to close off dead ends, to trim away any loose strings that may be around. Okay, that's very Virgo Pisces energy. Like I said, Mars is in control of the moon on the tropical scale. Mars is in square to Jupiter in Aries. It is not a beautiful energy at all. It is struggle, stress. It may be that there is a internal crisis of faith that creates a feeling of worthlessness. This is temporary. This is transitory. This is temporary. It is transitory. I will say it again. It is not permanent. It is a wave of energy that is coming in and it will wave itself away. The opposition between Mercury and Jupiter has been going on for quite some time now, a few weeks now, and it will continue to go because Mercury is retrograde and now it's going forward. And it's exact for this. Yeah, so there are big downloads, big information, big awareness coming in that may have felt like it was It may have felt in the last few weeks with Mercury being retrograde all through the end of September, it may have felt like there was just a little bit of information that you didn't know, that there was a piece missing of your puzzle and you just had to get to that final part. Well, we're here. This full moon will illuminate those last parts for you so that you can put them back into place and complete your puzzle. Mercury being opposite and direct of Jupiter retrograde as it spends its last degrees in this Aries energy, it is a full awake, because Mercury is in Virgo, in the last degrees of Virgo for this. It is 28 degrees and Jupiter is at 1 degree. So these are just outside of the signs to make them a perfect opposition tropically. This is an alignment of, in all oppositions, we have two forces meeting in the middle and coming to a compromise. Okay, that's how an opposition works. That's how, like, full moon is a perfect example. The sun is opposing the moon, and so in the middle we find the compromise. There is a solar heart chakra focus on partnerships and fairness and equality, but there is an emotional disturbance at odds with this need for compromise. There's an emotional ego wound. And so there will be a middle ground met and an opportunity to find a new way forward that is somewhat embodying both the need for compromise and the healing required for the wounds that have taken to get to this place. Okay? So Uranus and the North Node are still conjunct and both retrograding. In Taurus, they make a square. This is the last one of 3 that has been happening since 2021 with the generational planet Saturn. These are big moves, big, alarming, shocking waves of change that have come over 3 times already. This is the 3rd, and we're almost done. This is a big awakener. Saturn in Aquarius teaches us what's visionary. It teaches us where our soul and our desires, our deep down internal human desires and karma are pulling us to see ourselves evolve to a highest element. That's Aquarius energy. Aquarius energy tells you you're not even human. You are a soul in a human body. Okay, and it is your job to direct this body so that your soul may have the experience, the life experience that you want. At Pisces, we realize that that's all a release and we can just like let go. But in Aquarius, we're still trying to control things. And a Saturn in Aquarius is the ruler here. It's 30 years around before it gets here. And when he's here, he is redefining the vision of our communal effort. Okay, so everyone internally has been getting visions and downloads about what they're supposed to do, what their soul really wants for their life over the last year and a half. And as Saturn retrogrades and finishes up this chapter in Aquarius, we're getting these downloads so that we can take this next 30 years and accomplish those visions and make our soul quite proud to have the community rely on it that it always wanted. So you can't, until you lift yourself up into that vibration and believe that you have the vision that needs to be shared with your community, then Saturn hasn't done its work. If you have, over the last year and a half, come to an understanding that there is something that you can give to the community, whether it be your local community or your social community or your online community, whatever it is that you're providing, it's specifically you. And it is your frequency providing into the community that creates that beautiful rainbow energy that creates a wide open family among friends. The Saturn square to Uranus has been shocking us in elements of financial stability, elements of earthly stability. Saturn is the sign of karma, and Uranus is the sign of rebellion. The north node of the moon, depending on where you look, is extremely strong. Some Westerners will tell you it's your life purpose, it's your goal, like go after this. Others, Easterner astrologers, will tell you this is an obsessive force that cannot be stopped, that you need to be careful, it can be dangerous. Both are right. Both are right. Ambition can be quite dangerous. Saturn making these squares to the north node and Uranus together have been giving us visionary insights based on the rebellious nature of the earth right now, and the rebellious nature of the people on the earth right now. So as much as there's been revolt and push back against governments, against any kind of control, really, there's also been a push for control, okay, from the earth itself. So as we pollute it, she gives us twice as many hurricanes and avalanches and stuff than we previously had. And as we continue to frack the earth, she will continue to respond this way until she cleanses us right off. And a lot of this transit is supposed to inspire us so that we go further and we do better by her. As this energy happens and the positive trines effect from the ruler of the moon into Saturn, and then the ruler of Venus makes that opposition to the moon and a trine to Mars, there is a full-bodied action energy of agreeing to do what's best for the collective. There are amazing compromises when we can all account for our pain. If you can say, this is where I got hurt, this is where I did wrong, this is where you did wrong, this is where I will take responsibility for my end, and if you take responsibility for your end, if this comes together, there's an opportunity for a new frequency, there's a new opportunity for a frequency of an honoring everyone in the pack. Instead of individually having to take yourself and honor yourself, we have a communal effort, but it requires everyone being honest about the pain that they've already experienced, okay? This full moon is here to expand us and make us honest, more honest about our human experience, so that we can relate better to each other and be more sweet, because the love you put out is the love that you meet.